This video is continuing on in the practice management menu system, and we're going to take a look at some more options. Let's look at integration. And so what integration is, this is features that we've added to allow integration with our scheduler and biller. This tab is specific to Metasoft and Office Hours Professional, and right now it was written specifically for version 17. At least with regards to the appointment reminders. Although it may work with other versions, that's the only version right now that it has been tested with. So let's look at appointment reminders first, and we'll just look at this real briefly. So the idea with appointment reminders is with Office Hours, you can export your appointment grid and save it as a file. We'll include written instructions on how to do that. But you just go to Reports and Appointment Grid and save it as a file. And then you can import that file to the CNC patient chart. The CNC patient chart will go ahead and read that file and generate appointment reminders for everybody on that file. And it'll email anyone that it finds in the database that they have an upcoming appointment. So what we do is we just click Add, and we choose the appointment file, and I've included a sample appointment file. And then we can send reminders to patients, and so they'll get an appointment reminder to staff or to both. Now what I might suggest is that we do appointment reminders a few days in advance. So, for example, if we wanted to do appointment reminders and send them on Monday for patients with a Thursday appointment, so we're doing it 3 days in advance, we generate the report within Office Hours for Thursday's appointments on Monday, save that, and then that's the file that we would attach. Patients, each patient it finds in the database with a valid name and email, it'll send a reminder for their time and date and who the appointment is with. Staff, it'll actually send them their whole appointment grid so they can get that in advance. So another option would be for patients to send the appointment grid 3 days in advance, and for staff each evening to send them their appointment grid for the next day so they know what time they're getting started or what their day is going to look like. And so if we do a separate email for patients, we do that 3 days in advance. Staff, we might do the evening before. Or you could do both. If we're just wanting to do appointment reminders for the day before, we could generate them that evening, click both, and then the staff knows who they're supposed to see and patients get their reminders. This is the message that it'll send, and results it'll populate after it reads the appointment grid file. So that's all you do. You click that, you click Add, and it's going through, and it just read through that entire file. It only stores the last one that it sent. It doesn't store a record of every email appointment reminder that it sends. But if we click the appointment file, you can actually see the file that it attached, and it's going to show you each grid for each provider. Or if you go back and you want to view the appointment grid, then you can see a message was sent to Ethan Lazarus. That's the only one in the appointment grid it's sent in the database. But since we haven't imported our patient database yet, all these other appointments haven't been set yet. But then you can see it sent an appointment grid to each staff member. And that's a sample of integration and how we can do appointment reminders. The next part of integration is Superbills. So let's go back to practice management, integration, and Superbills. Now this deserves to be discussed for a minute. The CNC patient chart just has some rudimentary tracking functions to make sure that proper billing codes get entered into the practice management system each day, but this is not intended to replace a practice management system. This is not sophisticated enough to generate bills for insurance companies and be high-tech and HIPAA compliant. So we're leaving that to dedicated billing software. But the Superbill summary you can use to integrate with any billing software. So if we go back for a minute, for example, to patient search and sample patient, let's say Amy Lazarus. Let me go back into her chart. You can see that she had a visit. It's February 8th today, and we just entered that today she called in and had a last-minute cancel. And our office charges for last-minute cancels. So if you select that at her visit type, then in billing it says she had a cancel. And so the vital signs table has a row called billing and a row called RX billing for tracking prescriptions. And in billing, you can go through and you can select any billing codes that you want. These are stored in a user-accessible table, so you can set up your own billing codes. RX billing would track any medications that were dispensed. And notes are intended to be notes about billing, so that you can have notes to yourself. And so we just entered a couple transactions for this day to show you how this works. And if you go back to practice management integration, all that's going to do is take that billing, RX billing, and notes fields, and it's going to look at the whole database, and it's going to give you everything that happened on the selected date up here. So you can select a different date if you want to look at yesterday or the day before. But just to show you how this works, you can see we have a report now that we saw this sample patient. They did an MD visit, which was a 99213, and we also charged for an 81000, which was a urinalysis. And this patient, it needs to get charged for a cancellation. And then we can take that and we can enter those codes directly into the billing program. So that's a quick look at how we're going to be integrating the CNC patient chart with our billing and scheduling software.